Just a minute as I.
Okay.
Oh, so you had some people get joining in, right?
Mm, has someone else joined? Uh, okay. The we are live. We are live. Let me do an intro of you, then we can start off.
Okay, so I have
That's
my
okay. Mhm.
presentation ready. So, okay, yeah, that's good. So we can, yeah, you can continue, and then I'm just opening in there.
Okay.
So,
Uh, welcome to this session. Today we are talking about electric vehicles and how that is changing in the Kenyan landscape and East Africa. Brian will be taking us through this session. Brian Kipkemoi is a Kenyan entrepreneur, a founder, and the director of Asaph Green Mobility and the chair of the Electric Car Society of East Africa. With over a decade of leadership experience, he has founded and co-founded multiple tech, media, and creative ventures. He's a musician and speaker, and he combines innovation, business strategy, and personal development to drive growth across different industries. Welcome, Brian. Maybe you could just briefly walk us through what you do at Asaph before you take us through what the electric vehicle landscape looks like in Kenya and East Africa.
all right. Thank you so much, Michele, and thank you for this opportunity. And as you said, my name is Brian Kimoy. I'm the chairman of Electrical Society of East Africa, and also I'm the founder and director of Asaph Green Mobility. And at Electrical Society, what we do is simply our mission is to drive the acceleration of the adoption of electric cars. We drive the adoption of electric cars in the region. Basically, we have four mandates. That is, one is awareness. We try create awareness of the the electric mobility, especially uh, every aspect of it, whether it's electric cars, how electric cars work, and also our second mandate is we do what we call education. We ensure that we share knowledge about electric cars, because most people think an electric car is a kadudu, not really. That's not an electric. We have variety. Most people haven't seen an electric car in their lives, so they might think it's something just small. We have
Mhm.
sedans, we have SUVs, we have quite a number. Another mandate we have is research. We make sure we do a lot of research regarding this space, and we share the
Mm.
feedback out there with the relevant stakeholders. And the other, what we call mandate is advocacy. We
Mhm.
try to lobby government and industry players to ensure that we have a level playing field for everyone, whether it's a consumer and everyone who's a stakeholder in the space. In short, what we are trying to do at Electric Car Society, and by there I didn't mention this, Electric Car Society is a community of electric car owners,
Mhm.
electric car specialists, operators, and enthusiasts, and they're spread across 5 countries in the East Africa region. That is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. And as I
Mhm.
said, that is basically what Electric Car Society is all about. And at Asaph Green Mobility is a
Yeah.
company
Yeah.
that basically is providing solutions in the electric mobility space. For example, electric cars, electric uh, electric cars, sale and lease of electric cars, the installation, commissioning, and operation of electric chargers, and
Mm.
also the accessories that are related to the electric space. So basically, that's what Asap Green um, Mobility
Yeah.
is all about. Now, I had a presentation. I think I'll want to present that. Let me just
Okay.
see whether I'll get it shortly, and then just a small presentation that I thought um, will suffice at
Okay.
least to be able to have it presented so that we're able to have just what this is all about. Now,
Yeah.
this what we call presentation is, let me just open that in love, and then we can just see. Let me just try open that now. Yeah. Just a minute, just a minute. Just opening it now. Let's just see this one, and then I can. Right. Let me just uh now have it presented so that we gonna. Let me just share my screen. Sorry for that.
And it's
Just that
okay.
I did that to share my screen. All right. Just think basically you can see my screen. So let me just put it here. Okay. All right. Good. Um, so this is it. We are going to look at the future of electric mobility in East Africa. So the whole point is to see how where we are, where we were, where we are, and where we are going in East Africa as far as electric mobility is concerned. Just give me a minute and I just get this. All right, good. Fantastic. So I hope I can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, good. Nice. Okay, so now let's move on quickly. So the question is why electric mobility matters now? Why is it important as at now? Now you realize that the urgency is very real, very real. And why is this the case? Because 45%, that's the growth rate of our urban centers. And this means that the infrastructure is not keeping pace with the growth of the cities. And so that's why this matters. So the urban growth rate is really up, up, up. There's a real growth that necessitates uh, the electric mobility. And then something else to think about is the import cost of the fuel. And we know very well that the annual fuel import cost is we are talking of East Africa, about $8 billion. And so the money is there's a lot of forex that leaves our region, and that means there is a potential to save these when we all switch to electric mobility, because you know very well that um, that the forex that we spend is most of the money that the government budgeted, some of it goes to importation of fuel. So meaning that if perhaps we reconsider and do we move on with electric mobility, this means that we're going to save a lot of forex. And then we have another decade of coming our way, that is 2030, where we want to really meet the target of having a sustainable transport system across the region. Because at the end of the day, we are asking ourselves, what are we doing about the sustainability of transportation? And so there's this time, what I can call timeline that is really coming up quickly. So this is something else to really think about. So as I've explained why electric mobility matters now, I just want to take you to uh, basically the benefits of switching to electric uh, drive or electric ride. So we know very well there are very great benefits. One is we tend to look at transport as clean as possible, and also we get to have healthier cities. So the first place to begin with is zero tailpipe emissions. We all know that an electric car does not emit harmful or um, what we call emissions that we know are prevalent with the ICE, internal combustion engine. When I'll be talking about ICE, I'm not talking about that water that has frozen in your fridges. But when we talk of ICE, it's just an acronym for intent. There's this target that basically needs to be achieved by 2035. That emissions are reduced by 60%. But anyway, we know very well electric vehicles do not produce these emissions, and these emissions are the 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 result of the climate change we see because of the carbon emissions that affect the atmosphere, and it affects the climate and the weather and all that, the climate actually. So that's why we have climate change. So this is something to think about, and this is what we call sustainability in the long run. Now let's come to another thing. Uh, the other advantage that is positioning East Africa to really have an upper hand when it comes to cleaner transport or sustainability is the fact that, especially Kenya, 90% of the energy that is produced, the energy that we use is they all come from what we call renewable sources of energy. For example, solar, geothermal, and hydro, And so 70% of, uh, as you can see, the renewable potential that East Africa has, this comes from renewable. So this gives us an upper hand than other regions in terms of implementing these sustainability in transport. Also, we understand that the emissions bring about health problems, especially the air pollution that is there when you see an ICE vehicle emitting. So there's also health benefits that East Africans can benefit from when there is sustainable and transport in the cities. So let me move quickly. So question is, what is happening when it comes to the infrastructure? Because let me just be frank, in our sector, in this sector of electric mobility, we are in a chicken and egg situation, where we tend to ask ourselves, which one comes first? Is it the chicken or the egg? I don't know, Mikhaili, which one came first? Is it the chicken or the egg?
Oh my. Oh, huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know that's a challenging question. That is the same thing we are facing in this space also. We're asking ourselves, do we have the cars first or do we have the infrastructure first, the charging infrastructure? Now, the investors will argue that before they invest in the charging infrastructure, they want to see cars. But again, the users of electric cars will ask, before I buy an electric car, I need to see an infrastructure, charging infrastructure. So we are having this situation whereby things are, we're having this situation, but we came to discover that infrastructure should come first so it can build confidence in the electric adoption, electric cars or electric vehicle adoption. As we earlier said, our mission is to accelerate the adoption of electric cars in East Africa. And so charging infrastructure is the key catalyst to be able to get there. And so what are we looking at when it comes to investment in the charging networks? And what are we looking at? Because you say that infrastructure is a catalyst to the electric vehicle revolution across East Africa. So these are things we are looking at as strategic network planning. This means that we need to identify high traffic corridors and urban centers for initial charging station deployment, ensuring coverage along major transport routes. So that is basically it. And when it comes to the technology, as far as the charging infrastructure is concerned, uh, we need to focus on the fast chargers along commercial areas and highways so that we can be able to reduce charging time. Yeah, and to make it practical for commercial transport operations. Something else to really think about is public-private partnerships. This is important. This model is important because when it comes to the infrastructure, it's capital intensive to deploy charging stations. So sometimes such models work well because we push the repayment period or we push the lead time, the lag time for the infrastructure to recoup back its investment. So the sharing model we've seen work, especially in Kenya. We have the Nairobi Expressway, which is under public-private partnership. Something else to think about is we can set up charging stations not only in highways and commercial areas. We can have them set up in offices, apartments, public facilities, which can provide convenient or overnight charging options for daily users. Now let's look at policy advocacy and public awareness. What's happening when it comes to an enabling environment? What can, because we know very well the foundation for success in this space across East Africa is more of the policy and what we call advocacy and public awareness, which Electric Car Society of East Africa, we are doing these. And we are looking at how many things? We're looking at four things. First and foremost, the tax incentives and subsidies. Um, it's unfortunate that uh, what we've seen just recently about the finance bill, they were able to take it from the electric vehicle, they're able to take it from zero rated. Sorry, they're able to take it to zero rated to exempt, tax exempt, which it's not favorable because it will push the prices of electric cars. It will make them expensive, and so we've been lobbying that they revert back to what it was before. That is zero rated and not tax exempt. But anyway, what we're saying is, in East Africa, we need to be very careful of the tax and also to incentivize the 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 end user, because at the end of the day, an end user will want to purchase an electric car if it makes sense to them in terms of cost. And so this is something very important that we need to look at. Also, the regulatory standards are very important, which includes vehicle standards, the safety regulation, the charging protocols. So they have to be of they have to be to ensure that it's quality and interoperability across the region, so that if I go to Tanzania, if I go to Uganda, I'm able to use a charging station to charge my car, and that's quite important. So we have also public awareness campaigns, which we've been able to do as a society, been able to launch educational initiatives, highlighting the EV benefits, dispelling myths, and uh, highlighting success stories from early adopters. Something else is to consider is fleet conversion programs. And we need, okay, so the whole thing is that people who have gone there, they've decided to do something called conversion. So instead of just discarding your ICE car, that is an internal combustion engine car, you convert it into an electric car, which makes sense to them. And so these are the programs that are out here that we are trying to see. Because at the end of the day, whether you're converting your car from an electric, from an internal combustion engine, or you're buying outrightly an electric car, the whole point is let's adopt to this new technology. So there's something here that you said there's a policy success story that is we've seen in Rwanda. So Rwanda, they've done zero duty policy on electric vehicles, and this is what it has done the country. It's really enormous, because it has attracted EV companies, and it has positioned the country as a regional EV hub, and that's true. And that's why I said policy, it brings about success. If those people who are supposed to make policy are able to see how it can really be of benefit, they will not play around with implementations of uh, policies. Now, when it comes to um, an ecosystem, and this is what I'll be talking mostly about, is we need to understand that for us to get this thing going, there has to be a strong electric vehicle community. Uh, is, 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 is basically to bring about collaboration, shared learning, and collective problem solving. And so we are looking at these in three ways. We're looking at these in three ways, basically four ways, where we have industry forums, where we can have a convening of manufacturers, importers, so they're able to share the best practices and coordinate market development efforts. Also, training programs are key because they enlighten different stakeholders, for example, mechanics, electricians, engineers. So they're able to build local capacity for the maintenance and management of the EV and the infrastructure that are already in place. So we're also looking at innovation hubs, which is very key. And I believe soon we've seen startups, especially in the tech area, setting up these hubs. But also we are looking at if there'll be one for EV or multiple for EV, it can do a lot. So we're looking also at regional coordination, where we are looking at harmonizing uh, standards among the partners, partner states, that is Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia. And the whole point is to share the infrastructure and to create unified markets for economies of scale. And lastly, here is about research and data, collective studies on usage patterns, infrastructure needs, and market dynamics to inform evidence-based decision making. In short, what we're trying to say, to be able to come up with a strong community, we have to put these five things into consideration. All right. I think, okay, I don't know. Let me see. Let me just, okay, I think, so also we have innovation and investment opportunities. Sorry, I don't know whether you can see my screen well, but sorry for that. I had to just get this. Yeah, so we understand the opportunities, and if there is any one of us who wants to um, invest the opportunities in the in four areas here. That is the charging infrastructure, there is a vehicle assembly and manufacturing, and the digital platforms and services also, and battery technology. Because we understand that the projected investment opportunity in East African EV market is $12 billion, and also we have 150,000 new jobs that are estimated to cut across manufacturing, infrastructure, and services, and 25 plus startups already operating in the regional EV ecosystem. So the opportunities are so massive uh, for anyone who thinks of getting into this space. So as I close, I just want to bring to our attention that the transition to electric mobility is not just about vehicles. It's about reimagining our cities, our economy, and our future. East Africa has the opportunity to leapfrog outdated technologies and build transport systems that are clean, efficient, and inclusive from the ground up. So for us to be able to have a way forward is to ensure that we commit to bold climate targets, for example, reducing emissions. And policy, the challenge we have in Africa is just the implementation of these policies. So that means that these frameworks that have already been set, we need to pay attention to them, because it's what drives the need for electric mobility. The second thing to think about is to invest in charging infrastructure, which I've just mentioned. That is key. That is the key to adoption of electric mobility. And then support local innovation ecosystems, which these ecosystems are key in ensuring that deployment of whether it's electric chargers or ensuring that we have a way to build on the local innovation systems in regard to manufacturing and assembly. This is quite important. Last but not the least, we need to educate and engage communities, because let me say one thing is we depend on this goodwill. Okay, the government already has a goodwill, but also we need to rally others, because these policies, everything has been set for the president the other day talked about the first 100,000 cars that will be imported, 100,000 they'll be duty free, and that is something worth mentioning, because such moves will get people to adopt to electric mobility. So I think simply that is it for us tonight. And I think I just want to invite questions and discussions, or any discussion, and basically on maybe what I've talked about.
Yeah.
And over to you, Mikhaili. Thank you for this.
Thank you very much. That was quite insightful. In terms of, I know you talked about tax matters. I know within the finance bill there was that proposal, but I think they've dropped it last I checked. But maybe we can we'll wait for the final since he signed off today and just see
Mhm.
whether it's
Mhm.
still there. Yeah.
Mm.
In terms of legislative support, I know you've talked
Mm.
about what the executive is trying to do. Think of the tax reliefs they've tried to give. But
Mm.
is there something in place, or is there something that's being worked on from a legislative point of view to support this electric space?
From a legislative point of view,
Yeah,
uh, I think there's something that was passed
mm,
by the I don't know whether that one I can call it legislative, but
yeah,
now you see, electric cars, they enjoy 10%
yeah,
excise duty, 10% off excise duty. Okay, meaning the normal cars, it's 20%, but the EV is 10%. And I know very well for something, I don't know whether this was passed in parliament or it
yeah,
just it went through just, but for as far as I'm concerned, when it comes
mm,
to the legislative point of view,
yeah,
I don't think there is anything that is anything that is cooking, or
okay,
unless there's something that I might not know, but I haven't had anything that is cooking at the moment. Yeah.
okay, okay, that's fine. I think recently we
Mm.
saw Sifao Mobility has plans to venture into that space or increase its investment in
Mm.
terms of EV.
Mm.
Is this something that you have been pushing for as an association? Are we expecting to see more
Mhm.
of this as we move along the years? I know they've
Mhm.
indicated the vehicles
Mm.
they are going to bring are going to come from Japan and they'll cost around 10 million.
Mm.
So what are we doing about the costing aspect? Is there anything that can be done to ease that bit?
All right. Now, uh, uh, CFAO bought KVM. It bought 99.07 of
Mhm.
KVM, Kenya Vehicle Manufacturers. This
Mhm.
is basically this
Yeah.
is based in Thika, and so
Mhm.
0.3 was left to the government and other, I think, shareholders. So I can say the way to bring down the price of electric, or the cost, is to look on local assembly.
Mhm.
Uh, what local assembly does is you just import the kits and then you assemble those kits. For example, you buy the chassis, you bring the chassis, you and then they're now what we call, they're assembled locally. So that one tends to bring the cost down. However, as I mentioned to you, is and that is good. That is because uh, the tax regime of the tax cash is anything to do with some to do assembly is done by 50%. So the taxes will be 20% if this. But I mentioned to you that it was exempted,
Mhm.
tax exempted. It was a tax. Now, when it, when it comes to tax exemption, that means that the people who are assembly, they'll have to claim their input VAT that makes Now that will be pushed to the end consumer and it will make it expensive. And that's why we were trying to lobby the government to revert back to what it used to be, that is zero rated, because the assemblers they'll not claim the input VAT. Hence, it will not go to the end consumer, and hence the prices will be affordable to most of the people. However,
Yeah.
we'll see what will happen in the next few days because the finance bill will be implemented as from 1st of July. So we
Yeah.
see maybe also, although they'd passed, I think you're aware they passed
Yeah.
it. And so
Yes.
let's
Yes.
see whether something will be worked on that. But what we are saying is local assembly will drastically push the cost of the ownership of the vehicles down. And also the other thing
Yeah.
to consider is the taxes. For example, if uh,
Mm.
uh, whatever the president said is anything to go by, that is slashing import duty by that the slash, that is someone will be saving about that 5% of the cost of importation. So taxes have to go down to
Mm.
encourage electric vehicle adoption. Taxes have to go down. So we have assembly, and the
Mm.
taxes have to go down. Either you do away with import duty at all, or you reduce these taxes, because you can imagine 67% of 67% of the taxes that are levied to our vehicles. You can see what that is, and that can make sense if they are taken away out of the
Yeah.
picture. So I think basically that's it. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, okay, great. Also in that same spirit, I think on the other, should I call them your brothers, the
Hmm.
motorcycles? We've also
Hmm.
seen Spyro raise around 7 billion to just expand the electric motorbike production.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think we've
Hmm.
seen increase in electric motorbikes everywhere. The ones where they do the exchanges. There's this
Hmm.
new one where they have the batteries. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts around that space? Will there be Is there correlation between the increase in EVs and also the electric motorbike?
Yes. Uh, when it comes to electric vehicles,
Yeah.
I can just say elect simply, and this moving object can be it can be a four-wheeler like a car, it
Mm.
can be a two-wheeler like a electric motorcycle, it can be a three-wheeler like the tuk-tuk or the rickshaws, it can be a helicopter, which it's a moving object. So now, now when we classify electric vehicles, we classify them in terms of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. And what essentially you're bringing in this discussion, you're talking about what you just asked, you're talking about the two-wheelers. Actually, 30,000, um, 30,000 of the, okay, let me say, we have close to 33,000 electric vehicles in the country, and
Mm.
95%, 98% of them 98% of them are electric motorcycles.
Mm.
That is 32,000. We have 32,000 electric motorcycles, what we call the border.
Yeah.
We have 32,000. So the electric motorcycles form the bulk of the majority of electric vehicles we have here. So for that, I can say what has propelled the uptake is we have uh, companies like Mogo. like Haki Africa, like Watu Africa, who are providing the loans, the funding in terms of for because people the most of the owners of these are people in business who are doing commercial with these electric motorcycles. And so the reason why the uptake is quite fast because of these companies, these financing companies that have made it easier for local person to be able to acquire these. And so even at the level of the companies that offer these electric motorcycles, they're doing quite a good job. Like Spira, you can see, as you said, there was a massive investment that they put in. And we've seen even other companies, Rome, and these investments show a quality that is of dedication and confidence. Because if someone can be able to invest such a massive amount of money into this space, it means they are confident and they know that there is a future in this. So as you said, our cousins, that is the motorcycles, are doing quite well, and uh, and and where I sit as a chair of Electrical Society of East Africa, my goal or my what I envision for electric cars, particularly the four-wheelers, is
Yeah.
what I was able to see in Shanghai when I traveled to Shanghai, where I was able to see in that city alone, 50% of the electric cars are 50% of the cars on the roads are electric cars. And that's what I'm envisioning for East Africa, not only Kenya. I want to see electric cars on the roads.
Yeah.
I want to see empty showrooms.
Mhm.
Whenever I go to these showrooms, I see electric cars displayed. I feel like, wow, there's a
Oh,
lot that needs to be done. And but we are working. We are in our um, what we call infancy stages,
yeah,
where we can be able to see. But we encourage with the electric motorcycles because the uptake is was really quite fast here.
yeah, true. Okay. I think that was an amazing session. This is a space to watch for sure. I believe it's going places, and yourselves, Brian, and the rest of the team, you're really going places with this amazing initiative around EV. I think we'll have more discussions in future around the same as we continue to see the space evolve over time. So for us, I think it's thank you and an appreciation for finding time to join us today. Yes. Maybe in a parting shot.
Thank you so much. All right. My parting shot is what I can just say is where there is a will, there is a way.
Yes.
In terms of if we want to have sustainable transport, and it's something that comes from the heart, not just saying things and making policies, frameworks, sitting on those meetings, endless hours, just to set policy frameworks. I just believe action is what makes the difference. We
Yeah.
can talk all we want to say, but if action is not a key, people are not very deliberate on making this work, I don't
Mm.
think we'll get to where China is today. Because as I said, as in 50% of the cars I saw in Shanghai were electric cars. And that is what I envision for East Africa. But again, uh, action is what will make the dream work.
Yeah.
We need to move from just talking, just just saying things because you want to feel politically correct.
Yeah.
No, we have to move from talking to action
True.
because where there's will, there's a way. So I believe it's high time, and it begins with you and me.
Yes.
And let me challenge you, Mikhaili, as well.
Yeah.
I just want to challenge you.
Yeah.
Kindly switch to an electric car, kindly,
I
because
will.
uh, because if you do that, someone
Yeah.
else will see that and will do that. Because it also boils down to
Mm.
what we do as individuals, because as much as the government is setting up favorable environment to
Yeah.
or a conducive environment to enable this, we also have to take advantage of this. So,
Yeah.
Michael, the next time I'll be driven by your Tesla. I'm just looking
Amen.
forward to. Yeah, but thank you so much for the platform, Mikhaili.
Yes.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share my sentiments and also to maybe pass knowledge out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. This marks the end of our session. Do have a lovely evening. Thank you.
You too have a good one. Electrify your night.
Oh,